him. You think you're going to beat Andy Reid in a bye, and you can't get that buttoned up. But D'Amico Ryans after said, hey, these officials, it was us against the world. Now, Kansas City didn't score on that. Now let's go back to the first quarter. We'll reverse it. Let's go back to the first quarter. Remember, the NFL has instructed its officials, call roughing on plays like this. And at first glance, it looked like roughing. It's not challengeable. So there's that play. And everybody think that is not right. Well, on that play, it did give them a first down. I'll admit that. But on the very next play, Travis Kelce, the best tight end in football for 6-7 years, is for one of 4 times on the day left wide open. You may want to cover him. I mean, Kansas City doesn't have a lethal receiving core. They don't throw to their backs that much. That's the one guy you have to cover. You didn't. He was 70% of the offense. Xavier Worthy's more of a gadget guy. Rashee Rice is out. It's musical chairs at wide receiver. Noah Gray's not beating anybody down the field. You had one guy to cover, and you left him open all game.
Okay. I really hesitated for addressing this. And I actually recorded a bunch of videos that I never posted because I was like, I don't want to do this. And no video really came out how I wanted to, which I never do. I always just record and post. But Colin has now covered this like every single day this week. And I kind of just reached my own breaking point. With Mahomes is saying like this, and now people are like, oh, I can't believe D'Amico and other players are complaining. And, you know, they're trying to act like it's crazy that these other players are complaining or that the coaches are complaining. And Mahomes now, guys, I keep receipts. Here's a video of Mahomes after Josh Allen beat him in the regular season. And Mahomes freaks out. He has an absolute meltdown. An epic temper tantrum where he's just, I can't even show you the audio because he's just cursing nonstop. Screaming at the refs. The players have to hold him. He slams his helmet down. He just goes on and on and on. Just cursing about the call, about the refs.
Have they lost the locker room? What is going on here with Mahomes?
I just said the frustration is growing for Mahomes. He can.
Losses. We had that graphic early in the game about how he doesn't lose 2 straight.
That's the emotions of the game. You know he wants
it took in the end.
And it was.
Yep.
Ending offsides. Watch Mahomes.
I mean, just ridiculous. Seriously, just ridiculous. For this play right here, where he was clearly lined up offsides. And then you can see at the bottom, Mahomes, wildest bleeping call I've ever seen. So can we stop acting like this is unique for players complaining about stuff like this? I mean, just stop. And then Nick went on a whole rant last. I mean, this is 12-11-23. Nick was like, I'm not going to blame the refs. I'm not going to blame the refs. But let me explain to you how many times. And he goes on a whole, he says, I don't blame the refs, but let me go on a whole 5-minute thing about it. It's just ridiculous. And Troy Aikman was audibly angry. And the referee on TV who works with ESPN was like, this is not the right call. And he said it multiple times. Texans fans are watching that game. How do you want them to react then? As well as then the players. That when you're sitting at home watching the game and the people commentating are saying that's not a penalty, and the official referee on TV, the rules expert, is saying that that's not a penalty, what do you think fans are going to say? How do you think the fans react how you tell them to react? So don't blame fans. Don't blame D'Amico. Don't blame the players for getting upset. Did we have a whole big issue about Mahomes in that moment when Mahomes was literally screaming at the refs for a regular season game? A regular season game. He practically had tears in his eyes. He had an absolute meltdown. And this was the playoffs. And that play led to a touchdown. It didn't just lead to a first down. It directly led to a touchdown. Those things matter. I'm not saying that's why they won. I'm not. I'm not saying that the refs are fixing the game. I'm not saying that refs make mistakes all the time. It's just the reality of the situation. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. But don't get mad at the players for getting mad or the fans for getting mad. Don't. And it just happens so regularly. Like the phantom pass interference call against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, right? Like that was a good call. Again, as Greg Olsen is like, "Oh my God, what are you doing right here? How can you call that in the Super Bowl in a minute 40 left for a play that happens every single week?" Every single week, because that's what Nick said, the other day. This play happens every single week, Right. It's okay when it happens to other people, but it's not okay when it happens to the Chiefs. Like that's the gaslighting that fans are exposed to every single day. And in that same very game, Patrick Mahomes rips off a run, and he's clearly being held. I live streamed this game. He's clearly being held. No penalty. CJ Stroud rips off a run. Holding. 10-yard penalty. Replay. Second down. Like, that's the stuff that drives people crazy. And again, I'm not saying it's extra for the Chiefs or this or that, or there was this big tinfoil conspiracy. But don't expect fans to not get upset by this. Don't expect players to not get upset about this. They're the ones that are on the field. They're the ones that are experiencing it. Like now Troy Aikman is biased. The ESPN official rules analyst is biased. They hate the Chiefs. Really? Come on. Seriously. The players are biased. The coaches are biased. Like it's too many people coming out upset about all this type of stuff. I mean, you had Rich Eisen. I mean, he's biased because he went on a whole conversation about it, saying that call can't be made, that New York has to do something, the NFL has to do something. Like, he's biased. He's a hater, the most lukewarm guy out there. Like, the most non-confrontational guy out there. He's biased against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes, he's a hater. I mean, come on. Seriously. And again, I can't be more clear. This is why I did not address this. I specifically stood away from this because I was like, I don't feel like getting into this. But Colin keeps talking about it, and I don't know why. Honestly, he's like opened the show like multiple times. Like he keeps bringing this up. Must be a topic that people want to talk about. Almost had to double check, like, right, that's from today. I didn't just like accidentally not rewatching the clip from Monday or Tuesday. And again, I'm just going to emphasize it for like the 5th time now. I'm not saying this is why the Kansas City Chiefs won. I'm not saying that there's this big, play to try to get the Kansas City Chiefs into the Super Bowl or this or that. I'm not saying any of that. So don't come at me in the comments about that. Don't come at me and be like, oh, you're just a Mahomes hater. Because that's nonsense. That's nonsense. Troy Aikman's a Mahomes hater. The ESPN rules analyst is a hater. Greg Olsen is a Patrick Mahomes hater. So just stop. Stop with that nonsense. Stop. It is the literal definition of nonsense. We can have real discussions about this. I mean, heck, when the Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season, everybody was freaking out and crying, pass interference, pass interference. You can't have it both ways. Literally, Patrick Mahomes had a meltdown. I've seen 7-year-olds who respond better to adversity than that. Literal 7-year-olds. My 10-year-old niece manages her emotions better than that. Patrick Mahomes is free. They have to hold him. He's trying to go after the ref. And then when Josh Allen's like saying, hey man, good game, he just is cursing at him the whole time. Worst call ever, worst call ever. He can't even say, yeah, good game. He couldn't even just put it to the side. Well, he's a competitor. He's a competitor. So are the Texans. So are the coaching staff. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. If you're saying that I'm wrong, then you're saying that Patrick Mahomes is wrong. If you're saying that the D'Amico is wrong, and that the Texans are wrong, and that the fans are wrong, then you're saying that Patrick Mahomes is wrong. Go ahead then. Say it. When you come back in the comment section and tell me I'm wrong, then you better say Patrick Mahomes is wrong, and I'm wrong, and D'Amico is wrong, and Troy Aikman's wrong, and the ESPN NFL analyst is wrong. Make sure you add Patrick Mahomes in there. Make sure you do it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes? Any issues with how Mahomes is officiated? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.